the show?
Hey, everybody. It's Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff
No,
Hawkins.
you stop. You stop right now. You people have no idea what I go through when he starts his countdown. Like every week, it goes 5, 4. Oh, wait, I need to go do this and blah, 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 blah. All right, 5, 4.
Oh, my
killing
God.
me, Smalls. You're killing me.
I'm back home, as people watching on YouTube can see. I want to thank everyone for joining us here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel and on audio. You can't see, but I want to thank you for listening. Yeah, back in the studio. No more ASMR Dynamite Show or whatever they called it. Or is the P? Somebody had a better name for it. The PBS version or whatever, or the NPR. That's it. God. I've been driving for, we drove from Winnipeg to Edmonton through BC. We stopped in a little town one night. Then we were in Chilliwack. Then we went to Vancouver, Victoria, Kamloops, Calgary, 3,000 kilometers, 2,000 miles in 10 days. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but I'm back. Jeff. Last week, when Dynamite went off the air, I don't think we had anything announced for tonight.
Correct.
Okay, so
you may have had one thing.
I don't think so. So I was out of the loop, driving, as I just mentioned. I was not able to watch Collision because for some reason my PVR didn't record it, even though I have a weekly recording set. And this happens almost every week. It's not on there and I have to manually do it. But because I wasn't home, I couldn't. So I never watched Collision. I don't know if anything was set up on Collision. So I go to check at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 hours before Dynamite's going to start. Okay, what's scheduled for the show? Hangman Adam Page against Wheeler Yuta in a non-title match. Toni Storm in a title eliminator match against Billie Starkz.
I think that was announced. I think that's the one that was there.
Okay. So I don't think it was announced last week. It might have been announced on Collision. I definitely don't think it was announced last week on Dynamite. I could be wrong. But that's it. And that's basically the exact same match twice. The world champion again in a non-title match. That's it. That's all that was announced. And then I had somebody else tell me, oh, no, they announced Athena versus Alex Windsor. I'm like, dude, I got the preview from AEW's official webpage. And apparently, and again, as we found out, Athena Alex Windsor was announced, but it's for Thursday or Saturday. I don't know. I don't know when Collision airs. I don't think they know when Collision airs half the time. So there's nothing announced. Then we kick off the show and they announce a tag team title tournament. And they also announced later in the show that Colton Gunn is out of the tournament. That hadn't even been announced yet when he was injured. So he was injured on Saturday. Well, actually Thursday, because it was taped Thursday, aired Saturday. The tournament was announced today with the Guns in it, but then Colton's out of it because he's injured. I know people love Tony and the show's been really good lately. All In was awesome. I feel like there's a little disorganization. Is it just me?
Are you're working me now, right?
No,
of course it's disorganized.
Okay.
You've been saying this for weeks and years. Yes.
Well, I know,
and I don't think I think the Colton Gunn thing is an angle to get Billy on that team to get him in the tournament.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Or it's a thing to get a mystery team, which will end up being Edge and Christian.
Okay, there you go. look, I have a strong feeling Tony may have a plan, but it's also one of those days where I think Tony is also a creature of his environment, where it's I don't want to announce anything because that'll ruin the surprises that I'm going to bring all these people. And then they're going to be so excited when they hear the matches that are on the TV tonight. And
yeah, and you get a lot of last minute talk. I saw a lot of people super excited because they did announce Swerve and Hechicero. I think about now.
Build. That's all we need to do here is build. For God's sake.
Swerve and Hechicero, first time ever match. People were like super excited for this match. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I've been traveling for 2 weeks and I was like, hey, that's cool. Like I wasn't like super jazzed for it. I know why it's happening. Swerve's feuding with Okada. Hechicero's in Okada's stable. So it makes sense. Like there's nothing wrong with the match. They're both good wrestlers. But I wasn't like super jazzed for it or anything. Like it's not like it's got a ton of heat or anything. It's always cool to see a first time match. Right. But,
Jason and John's comments back to back are just me all the time.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention this, Jason. By the way, there's an article in the Discord about Tony not announcing things. He says it's a strategy. Yeah.
It's a dumb strategy. But well, it's a strategy.
Okay, so let's find out how next week does with the fact that they announced a world title match for the show. And did a nice little angle to build it up at the end of tonight's show.
Yeah,
and
that was yes.
Yeah, I bet you it does better than this week.
Yes, it will. And it's
maybe it won't, and then he'll be right.
No, it's not having faith in like the 20-year-old TikTok generation or whatever. And he thinks this is how they consume. They always consume content at the last minute or the last second or whatever. And it's like, no, man.
Well, I mean, some, I suppose, but, and there is something to, like, okay, I think that now the idea of you never know who's going to be on Dynamite, you can kind of throw that out the window. Like pretty much the big stars are usually always on the show, although there was no Bucks tonight, but, like no Kenny, but they didn't advertise them either. So
hold on. Do you think he's doing a Nitro strategy where you never know who's going to show up on the show? Because I got news for you. It's going to be somebody. It's going to be somebody on the roster. Usually,
Jason's got a good point. That is the tell. If it's a true strategy, they would have announced the title match last second. There you go. I think he was just making an excuse and knowing.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship there. I think it's also Doc Holliday and Tombstone. My hypocrisy knows no bounds.
Well, and you'll get.
No, sorry, hold on. Let me finish my thought here. Yes, he books the big angles, but then he looks and he goes, "I have a 30 to 50 minute show. I need other things in there," and that's when he starts. Well, let me throw this in. Let me throw this in. Let me throw this in.
Oh, Will Ospreay just decide to fly in. Let's put him on the show. I can't wait to talk like about that segment.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, and in a way, like his loyal audience will kind of reinforce that to him, and there's something to it. Like, when you turn on Dynamite, like it's gonna be probably a good show, like almost always is. It's gonna have good wrestling. It's gonna have some cool angles. It's gonna have some people swearing in their promos.
So your thought. Hold on. Your thought is that his fans want Mystery Vortex every week.
I think his fans will completely back up whatever he does. So and they'll also claim it wasn't a Mystery Vortex even when it is, because no, they announced it on Twitter. Yeah, like this show, like, oh, we had a whole card. I was jazzed for it. It's like, okay. Like I love our friend Brian, when he does Wrestling Observer Live, and he checks at 3 p.m. Eastern and he'll look and see what's listed. And then when he's finished Wrestling Observer Live, he shuts his phone off. He goes and spends time with his kids, has dinner, doesn't even think about wrestling until Dynamite starts. And Dynamite starts, and all of a sudden there's like 9 things that are on the show that weren't there 4 hours ago. And
But Paul, you must obsess about wrestling all the time because Toni obsesses about wrestling all the time.
I guess, yeah. But as it turned out, we got a pretty good show. I will say last week, and I never mentioned this on our show. I just didn't think of it. I watched the show on Triller, and I watched it on my iPad, and it looked and sounded great in that venue. I thought, like, the venue looked cool, it sounded great, everything. I watched it back today on my big screen HD TV on cable. It didn't look as good as it did last week. I assume that's not that the building changed. I assume it's how I watched it that changed, and that's why it didn't look as good. It was just something interesting. I don't know. And the crowd was hot this week, and they were pretty good last week too, at least from what I saw and heard. I don't know what you thought.
This is going to be a weird show for me because I had no real strong opinions on any segment.
Okay.
I was also kind of multitasking while I'm doing the show. I'm very.
I
have to play lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer, so it's one of these weird things. But you know what I did notice, Paul?
What's up?
Another Claudio Castagnoli main event.
Against Mark Briscoe, who the previous segment they told us he's a loser that never wins the big matches. This is true. So Lady B brings up a good point. I just need them to stop doing backstage segment in places that look like a middle school locker room. Not a good look. So
let me add to that one because I like it a lot. I also need them to stop being Ed Wood and just doing stuff on the fly, and it has to be like a live promo. You have all day in that arena to cut some things and do retakes and think about things and plot and plan. And hopefully you do. It might be talent is just kind of rolling in, all throughout the day.
Hechicero. I got no main event.
Wait,
what you doing, buddy?
Yeah. Who do I have right now? Who's made it from the airport? Who made their flights? Who got a rental car? What's going on here? Hechicero, you're going to be a main eventer tonight.
Yeah, actually, congratulations. He was in like the he was in the strong spot, but yeah, our point stands. So I watched a lot of wrestling even on my holidays. There was a couple days when we didn't really have any plans and we were just kind of hanging out. So my wife went and did a hike like a normal person would, and I stayed in my hotel room and watched wrestling. And I was watching, my son was watching with us, and my son is 34. And he hasn't really watched much wrestling since the Attitude Era. And he was struck by some of the changes that he saw. And one of the things, so I was curious what he would think. And I put on All In, and I just skipped to the main event because I already watched it. I just wanted to see what he would think. And he thought the building looked cool. The fans were awesome, everything. That match starts. Hangman starts jabbing a fork into Moxley's head. He's like, I'm out. And then, so he's done. He just didn't want to see any more AEW. Didn't need to see that. That's just not what he watches wrestling for, And of course, he doesn't watch it, period. But what he remembers of wrestling, what he likes about wrestling, it's just not for him. Then later, next day, I'm watching NXT. And he's like, this looks fun. He said, I like this more than I like Raw. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And he's like, yeah, we watched Raw yesterday, and it's in that big arena and it's a good show and it's well produced and everything, but this looks fun. It looks like it would be fun to be there. Everything's so fast paced, and the wrestling is good. And I'm like, it's not really that great, but that's what he thinks. And he's casual fan, the most casual that you can get. And I just thought it was interesting. And then and then you go, and then he says, and then the AEW, like, I'm sure if I showed him today's show, he would have probably thought the same thing that Lady B said. Like, it just looks, it doesn't look as professional. But some people like that. Like, I've seen this comment, like, oh, if they start producing things professionally like WWE does, I'm out. It's like, okay, like, that's what you want. I mean, hey, New Japan does their promos in the back in front of like a, I don't even know what it is, but it's not, it's just the back of their arena with like a banner behind them. Like, it's not exactly, high stakes. See, Maria says she loves it. Like, and I assume she's saying she loves what Lady B was describing. So, you know, and so I think there's an audience for that. The question is, can it grow? Or does it need to grow? Are they happy with what they have and they're just trying to maintain it? I don't know. But there's a saying in business that if you're not growing, you're declining. So I don't know. You know, obviously I know what you like. And Maria's like, we don't want it to look like WWE. Yeah, I nobody does. You want it to be different. Like, you don't just want to watch, because then it just becomes second-rate WWE, and nobody wants that. I don't want that. I like WWE, but I don't watch AEW to watch second-rate WWE. I watch, it's supposed to be an alternative. But you want it to look professional. You know, Lady B, she brings up this point. I'll point out to those viewers and listeners that don't watch, she doesn't even really watch WWE. So this isn't necessarily saying she wants him to be like WWE. She just wants them to look more professional because she's a fan of AEW and she wants them to succeed. I believe. Yeah, if I'm putting words in your mouth, you can correct me.
I see. It's weird because I don't care about the look. I care about the tone.
Okay.
I look, and I'm also older, and this isn't for me. I may be in the WWE's prime elderly demographic. You know, but but I've never really liked, I mean, I've always thought there was kind of too bright and gaudy and all those other things. I just want tough guys doing bad things to one another. That's always been my thing about pro wrestling. I want to feel like, see, my problem with the show isn't the look. My problem with the show is it feels slapshot at times.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it doesn't feel planned. It feels like we're gonna do all this stuff, but we're gonna land the dismount. But this other things, you know, the little things don't matter as long as we have bangers out there. And it's just one of those things where it's like, well, that's not me. Yeah.
and the thing is, I do think that he does have the show planned. It almost feels though that he wants it to not come off like I think what you're describing is actually what he's going for. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm right, but it's been going on long enough like that I think it's by design. And I give him enough credit because everything more or less makes sense. You know, like there's certain things you can pick apart and we will and we do. You know, like I was like flabbergasted that Colt Cabana was apparently hung and bloodied up on Collision, and I'm like, I didn't even know he still worked for the company. And then they show a highlight of it. I know, and then they show a highlight of it, and it's like he wasn't even wrestling. Like I guess he was acting as an official, I assume. Like I didn't watch Collision, so I don't know for sure, but it's like he wasn't in his wrestling gear. So I assume that he was out there as an official. And these Death Riders are like, they hung him and bloodied him, an official. Meanwhile, they just had an angle like not that long ago where Dax Harwood shoved a referee and he was suspended and fined 10 grand and had to publicly apologize to the referee. And then Stokely Hathaway does a promo saying this is unfair because look at what the Death Riders do. And then the Death Riders just keep doing it. And Tony Khan just lets it happen. And then we had Billie Starkz out there like shoving Aubrey like nothing. And nothing happening to her as far as I know. Like, I don't understand it. But
it's, you know what it is? It's because everybody loves wrestling and there's not that old guy who's just angry and wants to keep it kayfabe and yeah, we need to adhere to the rules of professional wrestling here. You know, I mean, we remember when we watched that first show where it's like, you know, the 20 count.
Yeah.
For the tag team. That's going to be something that separates us and we're going to enforce it. All right.
Yeah.
You know,
and we're going to have,
you know, but it's like any other form of entertainment. But what people ultimately want is, in terms of repeated business and other things like that, we just want to know the rules of this world, and we want you to play that game hard within the rules of this world. That's all we want.
I want it to be consistent. So I don't care that guys don't get punished for putting their hands on officials, but but if you're going to do it once, then you kind of have to do it all the time, or don't do it that once. And apparently all they did was the one time they just wanted to do a cute segment where Dax was going to have to apologize to a ref and give him 10 grand. So they thought, we'll just punish him. And, like, and stuff like that is like, it's that I don't like. I don't care that the Death Riders are going and flooding up officials and doing whatever. Like, if that's okay in the world of AEW, that's fine. And it should be. Same thing with the Continental Classic and all the rules that they have. And it's like, okay, we have this belt where it's got these unique rules and it's pure wrestling and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, it's like one time we didn't. Oh, but now we're going back to it. It's like, okay. No, Fernando, officials do get beat up in WWE all the time. That's 100% true. Like I said, I don't care. But you can't, but they're pretty consistent. Like either they do punish people for beating up officials or you don't. But you can't do it sometimes and not do it other times. And he clarifies Colt was doing commentary. Okay. Like I said, you may not, I think you came in late. I didn't get to see Collision because my PVR didn't record it. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on with Colt. Although if Colt showed up to do commentary, I would think, might be an angle coming. Because I haven't seen Colt in I don't know what. I think the last time I saw Colt was when he was on my show. When I interviewed him on Cup of Joe with Grandpa Des.
For some reason, I just think Tony remembered, hey, we're in Chicago and CM Punk's not in this company anymore. Oh, hey, Colt, you want to come work a day?
Yeah. I like how the show ended. It's kind of like how the show ended. Why didn't the Death Riders attack Hangman? I think they're scared of him. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they figured, Brody's going to come out, Bandito, Mark Briscoe, whatever. Like Hangman's got friends now, so they don't feel as compelled to attack him. But we'll get to that. Why don't we get into this show? You ready?
Yes.
Are you ready? Okay. I didn't do the attendance thing because it doesn't really matter. They're in this small building in Chicago for 3 weeks, and it's cool. It's a nice, different venue, and so yeah, I assume they sold out. And as I mentioned earlier, the crowd sounded great. They open with a rundown of the card, and they announced breaking news that we're going to have a world title eliminator series. They put up graphics that have two teams, FTR and Jet Speed, on the top left corner of the graphics. There's four other spots. Yeah, it's an 8-team tournament. So they have 4 other spots, not a single team or match announced. But it will continue on Collision that they mentioned earlier. Who's going to be in it? I don't know. And neither do they, apparently. But we got 2 teams, and the winners of this, they didn't. It's funny because they went out of their way to not call it a tournament, and then later on they just kept calling it a tournament. So, but the official thing they called it was the World Tag Team Title Eliminator Series. And the winner of the World Tag Team Title Eliminator Series will get a shot at the tag team titles at Forbidden Door. And they did an angle that, pretty clearly leads you to believe who the winners of this tournament is going to be, which I actually like that. I think that's a smart idea. And then we kicked off with Hangman Page and Wheeler Yuta, non-title match. So it's not a title eliminator. It's just a non-title match. And Renee stopped him on his way to the ring backstage. And she says, why do you want to take this match tonight? And he says, on Saturday, the Death Riders bloodied and hanged Colt Cabana. That's not right. And then before he can get too more into it, MJF shows up. And it's funny because he's in I don't know how many segments he was in tonight, 3 or 4. And then all of a sudden, after the 3rd or 4th one, they put up a graphic and say, we'll hear from MJF tonight. And I'm like, okay, I already did, but that's fine. He says, hey, Seabiscuit, I'm glad we're face to face. I'm going to beat you for my championship, for your championship in the ring. I'm not going to cash in my contract, blah, blah, blah. And it hit me. And I had actually been thinking about this. I think what's going to happen is he is going to earn a title shot and he's going to lose. And then he's going to cash in he's going to beat up Hangman and then cash in his contract after the match and win.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll do a match. Hangman will beat him, but then MJF will do the cheap out thing and beat him with the contract, the cash in, whatever. So I think that's coming. I don't know when. I was thinking December, but now I'm starting to think it might be sooner than that. But anyways, Hangman says, you're not going to goad me into giving you a title match. You're going to either use that contract or you're going to earn a title match. "You're a child, a facade, and a gutless coward." And he walks away, and MJF looks at him, and he looks kind of gotten to. If I did you get that or?
Yeah, Hangman's good. I know he's done this before and everything, but the dumbass thing is going to be his tagline, right? Like kind of like Okada's bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. I like the way he says it. But yeah, you do it too many times. It's kind of like what's his name doing the "yeah, I mean" or whatever, however he says it.
Oh, Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. But yeah, it was cool. I like the little interactions they do with MJF and Hangman, and I kind of want them to stretch this out as long as they can. Then they do the match. Wheeler jumped him during the entrance. They showed the highlights from Collision, so that's good because a lot of people didn't see it. Did a really, really low number in the demo. And I wrote down here, I assume that nobody got punished. They could have even said, "Oh, the Death Riders aren't allowed at ringside because they're being punished," but I guess they were going to be back later tonight, so that wouldn't have made sense either. I don't know. Fans were chanting "fuck you, Yuta." That's a popular chant these days. And Hangman beat him up quickly with a buckshot, as it should be. Quick match. It didn't even go through a commercial, like 4 minutes maybe. And yeah, it was fun. Wheeler got his heat at the beginning, and then Hangman took care of business. Then he grabbed a chain that he brought out, wrapped it around his fist, gave Wheeler some very light punches, and then the camera panned away. And then when they came back, he was bleeding like a stuck pig. And Hangman had no blood on his knuckles, so I assume Wheeler bladed, and that's fine. But he's bleeding like bad. And then he wraps the chain around his neck. He's gonna hang him from the top rope, and then he stops himself and he says to him, "You see who's coming for you? They're never gonna help you." Fans are chanting, "He deserved it." Wheeler is convulsing in the ring as they cut to the back. It was nice, a little much for a babyface to do this to a helpless heel, but whatever. He deserved it.
And also sympathy for Yuta. No.
Well, and by all means, they shouldn't have had sympathy for him.
Right.
Oh, NFL football started today. Okay, was that just the training camps? I assume
training camps are in. Yeah.
So if maybe they're going up against a preseason game next week, and that's why they gotta load up the show.
I don't think we're having preseason games in week 2 of camp just yet.
Oh, okay.
We're having scrimmages, maybe, but yeah, no, we're not there yet, kid.
When's a Hall of Fame game? Because that's usually the first game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually I always thought it was the end of July. Oh, it's Thursday, next Thursday, a week from Thursday. So they don't have to worry about that. Smack or Impact, they got to worry about that, but not not our boys over in Jacksonville. All right, then we got an Athena and Billie Starkz promo. She asked Athena who she is, and Billie rattled off all her nicknames. I didn't write them down. Forever Champion, Minion Overlord, blah 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 blah.
We've gone back a step to relive the glory days of the Minion angle in ROH. Okay.
Yeah, she's wearing like a professor outfit here.
Right.
It was a little goofy.
Do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, I do, because I think a lot of fans don't really know this gimmick and don't really know Billie's. Like they did a cameo during the Owen, but the American Joshi, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. I want less camp though for the heel.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't view Athena as a goofy heel. I view her as a serious heel. And I think her doing the comedy part makes her feel like less of a threat to Tony. I get that it's probably more entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's
something off on it for me. I don't know about you.
Jason says it doesn't play like a big league gimmick, and this was my thing with this the whole time I was watching it in ROH. I was like, this is working here, and people, why isn't Athena and Big League, blah blah blah, why isn't she on the main shows? And I was like, well, if she's on the main shows, this gimmick wouldn't be as over as it is, and that's what I was thinking. But there is an edge to it that we saw later that we didn't get in ROH, and we didn't get when she was doing it on Collision, a couple of years ago. So they gotta keep it somewhat serious. But yeah, this whole thing, like, and then she calls her like Minion, 106859 or whatever the number is. Like, it's stuff that you kind of have to understand or you don't get it. And so they just, I think they just kind of give you a crash course. This is Athena and Billie, and now we're going to move on to this feud. So she also asked her who Toni is, and I think Billie called her a jealous, musty asshole. That's what I got out of it, but I think it might have been bleeped. And then she says, and then what does AEW stand for? And Billie says, Athena Elite Wrestling. And then Billie starts to say she's going to beat her. And then Athena's like, no. You're not going to beat her. You're going to take her out. And then she says, Toni, I hold the pen with all the power, and your movie is almost over. The first of a couple references to a movie being over that we would get tonight. I was surprised by the second one, honestly. Wasn't quite expecting it, but it actually made sense. So I like this segment. I really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no strong opinion about it. Sorry.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. Then we got our first tournament match. It was FTR and Jet Speed. And so Jet Speed attacked them.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Because I kind of tuned out a little bit there. Did I miss the match between Billie and Toni that you went over?
The match between Billie? No, that's still to come.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The first match, the first real match on the show, we had that Hangman squash. FTR and Jet Speed. And this is a tournament match. And Jet Speed attacked them at the bell, and they took most of the beginning part of the match. So kind of figured out right away that FTR is probably going to win. But they had a great match, like just an outstanding match. They went through 2 commercial breaks. All kinds of great stuff. Bailey did all his stuff. Kevin Knight. Some of the highlights were a springboard moonsault by a Speedball. The crowd went nuts for that. They did the spot where Speedball puts one of the guys on his shoulders, like they're going to do a heart attack, but Kevin Knight hits him with a drop kick, which is like insane. Cash got back body dropped into the crowd by Bailey, and then he leaped over and hit him with a clothesline. Knight hit just this beautiful reverse splash from the top. Dax got his knees up. Dax hit a slingshot powerbomb on Bailey, but then Bailey wasn't the legal man, and Knight rolled him up for 2. And then Dax pinned Knight and grabbed Stokely's crutch. And I should point out that Stokely came down to the ring limping with a crutch, and they showed highlights of Edge from last week, taking him out with a spear. So that was good too. It's funny with Edge, like they recap his stuff really well. Not so much everybody else, but maybe he's demanding that. could be, yeah. But yeah, this match was incredible. Like, it was a pay-per-view quality match, especially if you're into moves. But I mean, it's FTR, so there's a lot of old school stuff in there too. And Jet Speed's a great team. So it's kind of, I would be surprised if any match in the tournament's going to be as good as this one was. I suppose we could get like FTR against, I don't even, the Bucks. I don't know. I don't know who's in the tournament, so I don't really know who to look forward to. It may come down to FTR and Outrunners. That would be, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But
I don't know. I think we just saw them on the last pay-per-view. I don't think we want that.
True.
Again.
No, I think it'll probably end up being FTR against the mystery team, which could end up being Edge and Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be the match right before Forbidden Door, because the winners of the tournament are getting the title match of Forbidden Door. So could be. I called this like the day. The week Hurt Syndicate won the titles, I asked you, who do you think is going to be the ones to take the titles from them? And you weren't sure, and you threw out a couple names. I'm like, I think it's Edge and Christian. We can go into the archives, and I just didn't feel like anybody else was going to beat these guys. But so that was good match. And then Tony Schiavone went to interview Stoke. He's mad at Copeland. He says he belongs in a prison. Everyone knows I'm not a professional wrestler. He had no business putting his hands on me last week. Adam Copeland is a horrible human being. Adam Copeland is a loser. Adam Copeland is a cancer to AEW. Doesn't matter what anyone says. And then Cope's music hit, and Stokely immediately cut the music, but the crowd, they didn't get the memo, so they sang his song, and Adam sucked it all in, and he says, Adam, like he's
Runner
Roddy Strong. Yeah. Says, last week I made it perfectly clear you're not allowed to get in the vicinity of FTR. What are you doing here? And he says, oh, yeah, I forgot I can't get within a certain amount of feet of you guys. Well, I made a business deal with some gentlemen. They're willing to come down and do what I can't do. And their business is hurting people. And out come the Hurt Syndicate. MVP shakes his hand. Presumably, you got a payday. He took the belts from Shelton and Bobby. They hit the ring, started to fight FTR. And it was at this point, I'm like, okay, yeah, FTR's probably winning this tournament. That's what I thought. I still think it might be a mystery team, but and officials were out to break it up. Crowd starts chanting, let them fight. They're chanting, we hurt people. Cope was just standing in the ring watching it all. And then finally Hurt skinned it. I guess maybe Edge only paid for a certain amount of time for them to beat up FTR. And when that time was done, they just stopped beating up FTR and they left. And
hold on.
Well, do you have any other explanation?
Hold on. They're not hookers. It's not like, okay, 200 will get you 45 minutes.
I think they kind of are. They're not hookers, but they're paid for play.
They are prostitutes.
Yeah. I think he paid for 5 minutes.
How much? It becomes the Chris Rock bit from "I'm gonna get you." How much for one rib?
Yeah.
How much for one punch on each guy? I got a $5 here. What does that get me?
I'll give you a shot in the balls.
Boy, this felt like Tony's trying to reboot the Hurt Syndicate and decided to reboot all of the things that they said they were going to be all at once. Because this was, I think, the original gimmick.
Yeah. Like they're what are they? The APA now.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
Which is what we thought they were when they came in. And then it's like, and then of course the stuff with Max later. I was just okay.
I still think this Max stuff is a swerve. It just feels too sudden, or it could just be that Tony decided, you know what, like this was getting over, so we'll run it by for a few weeks. We'll have him join the group, but then I'm just going to go back to my original plan.
When we get to the Max part, stop me, and I'll give you another theory.
Okay, all right. But yeah, it was. And then in the ring, Cope was left in there with Stokely and some security people, and he went to spear Stoke again, but a security guard got in the way. Actually, they showed the replay, and it looked really bad in the replay. Like he didn't go anywhere near Stoke. He saw that security guard standing there and just drilled him. It didn't even look like it was by mistake. It looked better on the first shot when they showed the replay. He just saw that security guard. Oh well, yeah, I'll spear him now. But yeah, it was kind of cool. Oh hey, we got a super chat. I'm sure is hungry. I have no idea what that means, Cyclops. If you want to elaborate, you can.
Oh no. That's from the Chris Rock bit on. I'm gonna get you.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sure is hungry.
Yeah.
I have ribs. Okay, one order of ribs. Nope, just one rib.
Jeff impersonating Chris Rock was worth your $2.
I am not. I am not. I am not going heavy into the impression because I don't want to be called names. So let's just keep moving. Thank you.
Keep my daughter off the pole. That's my Chris Rock. Could this be the reunion of Max and FTR? I would think that, but damn, I keep being told that they don't actually like each other behind the scenes. So I'm not holding out hope, but I would love to see it, and it sure would make sense. And maybe even Wardlow, who apparently is ready to come back and has been for like a year. But Tony,
can I pry?
Tony actually benches people.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. Can I pry a little and ask how recent that information is?
Within a month or so.
Okay, never mind then. I thought it might be blowback from the podcast when FTR was doing a podcast, but okay.
Well, it could be that, and the person might have just been using old information. I'm just saying when I brought this up, and then the person said, "Don't hold out hope on those guys ever working together again," was what I was told.
Okay.
So, yeah. But again, and actually, I should say what I was told. This was in the Discord, so it was public. It came from somebody who's usually right. Not always, but usually. And way more often than not, I should point out. Like, I'm not suggesting that the information is wrong. I just occasionally get something wrong, but usually it's right. All right. Then we got a backstage promo. It was Nick, Shayna, and Kip, who they refer to as the former patriarchy. And Nick says, at All In, we took a big risk, but what's the point of a risk with no reward? So last week we verbally explained ourselves. So now it's time we back up these words physically. Starting this Saturday, we begin our quest to prove why we are the most dangerous faction in AEW when we're not being held down by a patriarch and when we are uncaged. So I assume Uncaged is going to be their name, which is not a bad name, honestly. And
it's not, but I hate the term faction.
Okay.
That is a Stamford term, kids.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to call things stable, so they called them factions.
Haven't they always used faction in AEW though? I don't know.
They may have, but
yeah, but
that comes from Vince. Vince hated the term stable. That's where horses stay.
I guess because they were the only game in town for a while, I didn't realize it, but I'm sure you're right. And the Four Horsemen were never called a faction; they were always a stable. So yeah, I'm sure you're right. But yeah, and so I assume that these guys are in the tournament. They didn't announce anything for them, but I imagine we're going to get Kip and Nick Wayne in the tournament. And
I assume your mystery team's going to beat them too.
Yeah, maybe in the second round. I would hope that they win their first round match at least, given that they're the only team that did a promo for this tournament. They advertised Darby doing something tomorrow in regards to Shark Week, and I should also point out there is like 8,000 promos for Shark Week on this show, and that's fine. Like, there's no problem with it, but it's just the cross branding that they do every year. But like in the past, they've done stuff like I think didn't they have like a person locked in a cage or something one year for Shark Week that they did?
Yes.
And I think there was something else. I think maybe even somebody might have dressed up in a shark outfit. I may be making that part up. I remember one year when we were all convinced Shark Boy was going to show up.
We thought Shark Boy was going to be like some sort of mystery opponent or something like that.
Yeah, it never happened. I guess if he had been in ECW, it probably would have happened, but he was in TNA because Tony loves his ECW. So, this is a Mox promo. I didn't label it in my notes, so it starts off with Hangman, and I thought it was a Hangman promo, but no, it is a Mox promo. So he said it all in. Hangman fought the fight of his life, and he found something he didn't even know was there. And he says, even I can celebrate for that. He says, that was good. Now get up and do it again tomorrow, and tomorrow after that, and the tomorrow after that. He says, me, I lost the match. No reason to bitch about it. I'm ready to go again, as I'm sure you are. Avoiding a rematch, that's not something you do. It's not something world champions do. The credits don't roll. This movie doesn't end. The cowboy doesn't ride home. I ask a lot of the people around me, and even more myself. A mistake was made by me, and I will fix it one way or another. We know who the Hangman Page was that rode into Arlington, and by the end of tonight, we're going to find out who the Hangman Page was that rode out of Arlington. He walks off. Marina, on the other hand, stared at the camera for a really long time, and then she said or mouthed something. I'm not sure what was going on there. Like if they had shut the mic off, because she clearly her mouth moved. No noise came out. It looked like she was telling him to turn the camera off, but I'm not exactly sure what that was at the end. But before that, it was an awesome promo. It was great, like Mox promo, like really, really good.
I liked it a lot. I was a little bit taken aback that it felt at first, like the first time I watched it, because I did rewind it to watch it again. It felt like the heel version of the John Cena I don't care that I lost the title promo that he used to do in the WWE, just a little bit. But I like this. Did you get the impression that Marina was the mistake that was made?
I didn't think about it, but it's possible. I hope not.
That's what I was thinking, and I thought the reason she stayed there so long was she took it as a personal affront. But
do you know what she said? Was it shut it off?
I don't remember. I knew she was
like, no
mouthing
sound
something.
came out. Yeah, no sound came out, so it was weird.
Right.
Like, yeah, and it wasn't like it was bleeped. Like, there was literally no audio. So I don't. It was weird.
It's gonna be one of those Zapruder film things where a bunch of people go and watch and rewind it every time it's like, and then it's gonna be like, oh, she said Shayna, so that means Shayna Baszler's coming or something like that.
She said, "Fuck off." Like, maybe. So I would say with the John thing, the reason I would kind of counter a little bit about what you're saying about and I know what you're talking about with the Cena stuff. He kind of did, like, going into the match. He was pretty consistent in saying, like, I want somebody to beat me, like, and if you can do it, great, but I don't think you can. So now that he did, he's like, okay, you did it, great, do it again.
But that's also what makes the Death Riders gimmick so crushingly terrible too, is that it's like you do something to them and it's like, it doesn't matter. Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's saying it doesn't matter. He's just saying he's not gonna let it ruin him. And
right,
if you really are the better man, then beat me again. And if he does it again, then I do think we're gonna see some effects of, okay, like maybe we're gonna see Mox. And it feels like this has happened before, like where you've had a long title reign, somebody wins a title on pay-per-view, and then they immediately do a rematch on TV like a couple weeks later. I'm almost positive this has happened before with AEW. And there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I mean, you should do it.
No.
It is kind of funny. Somebody brought up earlier. I'm trying to find it. The comment. Oh yeah, here, transferring heat. Why isn't Texas Deathmatch a blow off? Yeah, there is that, because we're using a Texas Deathmatch to build to a straight wrestling match. Where everyone is
now that we have complained about in a lot of places and in AEW and WWE is that we do the big blow off match to get to just a straight 1-on-1.
Yeah, with no interference.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is everyone's going to speculate. Oh yeah, even though there's no interference, ref's going to bump. There is going to be interference. I will guarantee you there will be no interference in this match. Tony Khan will not book a match where he says there will be no. Everyone is banned from ringside.
No, these matches are always set up to introduce the next guy,
right? Which will be
it's not. But it's
match.
not. Right.
Yeah.
Max is going to tease cashing in probably.
Jason points out Punk Mox was the opposite. They had a TV match, then a pay-per-view match 2 weeks later. Yeah, that is true. But there was another one. Like it might have been Hangman's first title reign, or it might have been MJF's. They did this at least once before. I think
it might have been MJF, because the one I think about Hangman is he did Lance Archer for like a 2-week build.
Well, it couldn't have been it might have been who did MJF beat? Was it Hangman? I can't remember, but it couldn't have been MJF losing the belt because he lost to Joe and then he took time off. So it wasn't that one. Yeah. Anyways, somebody will tell us. Probably tomorrow in the Discord. Let us know in the Discord. Then they advertised a Will Ospreay promo. Like, this was advertised during the show. And he explained that, he wasn't even scheduled for the show, but he just decided at the last minute to fly in from London. And he asked Tony Khan if he could have 5 minutes, and Tony said, sure. So it was weird.
Hold on. Pause right here, Paul. I know you want to barrel through your notes.
Yeah.
Did we have a big promo about what a pain in the ass it was for Will Ospreay to get on that plane?
Yep.
Cross over the ocean. He had to take 3. Okay.
Is that really something you want to do with the injuries he described as well? But he's flying first class.
He probably gets a lie flat seat. This is probably what's happening to him.
That could be. So, first of all, Shimani congratulated him on his match at All In, and Will said thanks. He says, "I wish I could wrestle in front of you guys. I love wrestling in Chicago." Here's where he said, "I flew myself over." Tony Khan was over the moon. He couldn't even believe I was walking, and I said, "Can I have 5 minutes to talk to these people?" And then he says, "I've been struggling with my neck for about 10 months. It's been causing me a lot of issues. Usually the medical staff is on it, but the problem here is I didn't actually tell anyone. I didn't tell the medical staff. I didn't tell the guys I was working with. Nobody. That's on me." He says, "I really wanted to help get us over the finish line." I made a lot of promises to Swerve, to Hangman, and most importantly to all you people. I would play a part in retrieving that world championship. And he says, although that sacrifice was great, I'm proud to say we got that belt back, boys. Okay. So here it is. When the Death Riders did what they did, I went in and I got an MRI. Turns out my C2 and my C6 vertebrae are herniated into my spinal cords. I'm like, that sounds like pretty bad. I assume we're not going to, this is his so long for now speech. We're not going to see him for like a year. But fortunately, it's treatable. So with the right treatment and the right physical therapy and all the support of the right people around me, I should be okay. And then he says, hopefully, if everything goes okay, I should be back for Forbidden Door. Like, wait, what? And then he points at the sign, Forbidden Door, August 24th. It's July 23rd. He's going to be back in a month. I'm flabbergasted. So either he's not really injured, or he's not really injured as bad as he said, or he's an idiot. And I'm not sure which it is. Now, I was told that people in the Discord believe that all he said was he's going to be at Forbidden Door, but he's not going to wrestle at Forbidden Door. He's just going to be there, and then he's going to be gone till next year. That's what they took from this. I don't know where they got that, but and I had two different people in the Discord tell me that. Jason brings up exactly what I thought. Like, this is their parody of the Seth Rollins thing from Saturday Night's Main Event. I mean, the difference there is Seth Rollins didn't come out on TV and say it. They just told us he had an injury. But
if it is, it's too inside baseball.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if he really is gonna like get the bare minimum done, like Kurt Angle did when he broke his neck at WrestleMania, and he went to that guy in Pittsburgh, and he was back a month later. Like, if that's what he's doing, okay. Or he's working it. Like, he's not really that hurt, and he's getting a month off to, let Alex wrestle, and he can stay home and look after the kid. I don't know.
I need a heel to come out and parody this and go, you know what? With your fan support and your prayers, I'll be back just in time for Collision on Friday.
Yeah. Which is being taped like in an hour.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about this. Like, and it's also possible, like, Will may have, like, there may be something to this thing about, like, he's going to be at Forbidden Door. Like, that's the next time we're going to see him, but that doesn't mean he's going to be wrestling at Forbidden Door, and he may be out for a really long time. It's possible.
That and to keep the tickets up for Forbidden Door, right?
Yeah, well, they've sold a lot. Like, I think it's at around like 13,000 or something, and it's in Toronto. So I'm not like, I'm sure the fans want to see Will Ospreay, but it's probably more about probably Edge and Christian and Hangman and whoever he's going to be facing, and just the general concept of Forbidden Door. If people are into that, and Toronto's always done well with the New Japan shows. Like, even with Ring of Honor when they used to do them, Toronto was a good market for that. Forbidden Doors in London. Yeah, Jason's right. Oh yeah.
Yes.
You know what? There may be something to this, actually. Like, maybe he's just gonna be showing up at Forbidden Door to say hi. And then he's still gonna be gone. Like, the fact that it's in London, yeah, Jason's right. I was thinking Toronto. But they have done really well. I saw a ticket count. They're not sold out, but they had sold something like, I want to say like 14,000 tickets or something for that show. And it's in an arena, and super high ticket prices too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to do a quick scan. But yeah, you know what? I'm leaning towards now. Like, I may even have to apologize to those guys in the Discord. They did sell out, by the way, tonight, 1,144 in the ballroom in Chicago. What do you think's going on here?
I don't know. I really don't know. I thought, I was like, oh, he's going to be out for a while. I'll be back in time for Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
What?
Like, yeah, but I guess what he said is, if all goes well, I'll see you at Forbidden Door. I think.
Okay, then maybe he makes an appearance.
Yeah,
he comes out like Magnum TA with the cane.
Well, hopefully not that bad. But, here, I'll try it this way.
This is pro wrestling. I want him to kind of come out with a big drama thing. It's like, oh my God, the braveness of Will Ospreay.
After 3 weeks. 11,623, but that was 3 months ago. So it's probably a lot more than that now. That was the latest I could find. It's hard to find these numbers.
You know what? I actually think it is. I think he's just couching and hoping things go well in the surgery.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll get an update. At Forbidden Door. He's like, yeah, things are going well. I'm gonna try to get there for All In next year. Kind of thing. And that would actually make sense because they'll probably do the same thing they did last year and put All In tickets on sale in like December. So, but other than that, it was it's a good promo. Like Ospreay's a charming guy. I should point out.
I have another theory too, if you'd like it.
Sure.
Maybe Alex is booking a lot of dates, and it's his turn to babysit.
I said that. I just said that like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, and I pointed that out in the thing because somebody. Okay, so we were told, and this is by the same person that said.
Put up Jason's note.
I saw it. I was going to do it anyways. Put him in the Pitbull 2 Halo. The same person that said don't count on FTR MJF also told us that Will needed some time off. And then someone else asked, well, that's weird because Alex is wrestling. And then I commented, well, somebody's got to stay home with the kid. So maybe this is, he's giving her a chance to wrestle while he stays home. And plus he probably needs to recoup. So I did miss a couple things. He said before he left, he said, Swerve, I love you, brother. Thank you for all you've done. Hangman, it was an honor to fly by your side. And remember, as soon as I heal up, I want a rematch. And to the Death Riders, the moment I'm feeling healthy, it's eye for an eye. I'm coming for each and every one of your... And then they bleeped out whatever he said. I think he called them pussies, but I could be wrong. Might have even been the dreaded C word. And then Swerve's music hit, and he comes out, and they just hugged, and they left for the back together, and that was that. So, very important that I got those last bits in. We got a video package for Sky, Julia Hart, and Tekla. I couldn't hear most of what they said. They were playing spooky music. I did make out that they're not friends or sisters. We have one bond. Whoever is with us isn't against us. I think they said a name, the Triangle of Madness, I want to say is what they called themselves. And I guess she's not part of the Hounds of Hell anymore, is what I gathered out of this.
It's a subsidiary.
She did say the heart always wins, which is lame as hell. Like it worked with House Always Wins. You can drop it now. But it is a weird faction, but is Alistair still booking this stuff or what's going on? Because this really was a House of Black promo, right?
Email. Yes.
Yeah. They couldn't reclaim the Death Triangle name. Yeah. Somebody.
Oh, this is a hold on. This is a Death Triangle. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Poor Tekla. She deserves.
Yeah,
better.
she's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought they were putting her and Aminata with each other so much. I thought they were eventually going to do, that Bob Holly mutual respect type angle.
I find it funny that Queen Aminata is only getting this opportunity because somebody got injured, and I don't even know who that person is who got injured. But Tony kind of said that at the last conference call he did.
Was it someone she injured?
Probably. But yeah, because he was asked about Britt, and and she's just being on the bench right now because they've got other people that they're using, and at some point her number will get called. And they said, but people get injured, and we put people in, and they take advantage of the opportunities. And right now that's Aminata, So I don't know. Yeah, she probably. It might be Jamie Hayter actually.
Yeah,
because I think she's hurt. Then we got an interview with Willow, and Renee reminded us that last week she didn't get the 100,000. I'd forgotten about that match. I can't even. I think it was Tekla that won. I think that's probably how they paid.
It was Tekla that won.
Yeah, that paid for that video we just saw. So she
They
asked her
got some
what's
film
next.
student. They got some film student that paid him like a few,
Yeah.
$50,000 to come shoot them saying spooky
There's too
stuff.
many of these like bounty matches or whatever they're called, because like we got 2 separate promos in here where they talk to people who had just won money.
I need to see somebody's lifestyle change.
Well, you know what?
That's what I need.
Rick and the GOA look pretty fly. We'll get to them.
Okay.
200,000 for winning a match on Collision seems a little much. Anyways, she says, she's asked what's next. She says, well, for the last few months, I've been wrapped up with the Death Riders, with John Moxley, with Chris Statlander. Interesting, she did mention Marina. Maybe there's something to that theory you had. But she says, renewal is in the air. Hangman is our new world champion. We've got new girls on the roster. I even had a chance to mix it up with Tekla. She said, I had her pinned in the middle of the ring last week. So, Big Tech, you feel your spidey sense tickling? Well, that's me. You can find me in the ring. So I guess we're getting that probably on Collision, maybe next week on Dynamite. They didn't really specify. It was fine. It's a cute promo. Jeff's got nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm watching, I'm like, when Willow looks at Renee and goes, that's a really good question. And all I had was Brian Alvarez in my head. Going, she does ask really good questions. It's like, all right, she asks okay questions, but let's not.
If anybody loved me as much as Brian Alvarez loves Renee Paquette, I'd be a lucky man.
Yeah.
We got a recap of the Cope segment from earlier, which doesn't happen very often, but it seems to happen a lot with Cope. Then we got an interview with Renee and the Hurt Syndicate, and she asks, okay, Renee is great, but this was a stupid question. She asked him if he could explain his relationship with Cope. I mean, that's
Kathy
a WWE
Kelly,
thing.
Kathy Kelly rolling over in her grave. What is going on?
I mean, because anybody can tell what was going on. They were paid. So before he even gets a chance to answer the stupid question, MJF says, yeah, I want to know what's going on too. Took me months to get into this crew, and now you're just butting up with Copeland. And then MVP stops and he says, Max, we are in the business of hurting people. I made a business arrangement with Cope. And then Max says, that's cute, Montel, but how about we get in the business of getting my world title back? And Bobby flips a switch. And he turns and he looks at him. He grabs him by the throat, shoves him into a locker, and he says, we don't need to help you with this shit. We are not your lackey. Every week it's I. Well, I want you out of this Hurt Syndicate. And he puts his thumb down. Shelton just shakes his head and walks away. MVP does the same. And MJF is like, what the fuck? So
I also like that because every promo MJF does with the Hurt Syndicate is we.
Well, well, he does mention the title a lot.
Yes. And I think that's going to rail up, but I am kind of with you. It's a swerve, but let me take you back to the golden days of AEW with the Pinnacle.
Yeah.
The Pinnacle started, and then the whole dynamic changed. And speaking of the FTR podcast, because Max didn't think Tully should get to talk all that much. I would not be surprised if, given some of the people involved, if this is a creative decision that this isn't working, we need to go on our separate ways. I still think it's a swerve. Don't get me wrong. But would it shock anybody if this was like a Wardlow MJF thing as well, where it's just like, all right, we've done it for a short time. And Max likes being on his own. Kind of a thing.
Or what if it's a different, what if he shows up?
Or Bobby, or it could be Bobby, you never know.
Or what if he shows up with a different crew?
That's true too.
You could do, I mean, okay, let's just say this information we got in the Discord was correct and it won't be FTR. You could do Ricochet and GOA with MJF. You could do Edge and Christian and Wardlow. That would be a hell
Bill
of a
and Brian Keith.
Yeah, Big Bill and Keith.
He's doing gladiators.
Oh yeah, right. Big Bill and Keith would be good, and then Jericho could come back and he could be a babyface. Because he's mad that Max took his team.
We're gonna reunite the Firm.
Who is that? Stokely.
Stokely, Big Bill.
The Guns. I think the Guns were in that.
I think the Guns. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was one other person too. I want to say
there was, I thought it was Brian Keith, but it wasn't. It was somebody on that level.
It was like Tony Lee Moriarty or something. Yeah, or Lee, no, you know what? You're right. I think it was Lee Moriarty. It was somebody just bizarre that didn't fit at all. Yeah, Lee Moriarty, Jason.
Woo! I win.
Yeah.
AEW historian. There we go.
Then we got Athena watching from a sky. They actually played her music so they could show her in a skybox. And we got Toni Storm and Billie Starkz. And there wasn't much to say about this match. Toni was wrestling in a cocktail dress. They mentioned that Billie was in Japan wrestling in, I think it was Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling against Miyu Yamashita. That sounds like a cool match. I think I've seen it before in GCW, actually. They had a good match back and forth. Toni gave her more. It was kind of similar to the Mercedes Billie match. Not quite as good, not quite as long, but similar in layout. Toni hit her Sweet Cheeks music, and then she was going to hit the Storm Zero, but Billie countered it. Then Billie hit her with an enziguri. She went to the top, went for a senton. Toni got her knees up. Then she put on the chicken wing, which I think she calls the TCM chicken wing, and got the pin. Billie tapped. She didn't get a pin.
Mm-hmm.
A fine match. Billie does not earn a world title match. Then, while Toni was celebrating, Billie just sprung to her feet, grabbed the belt, laid out Toni. Then she called Athena down. Athena is making her way to the ring, and while she's doing that, Aubrey's trying to break up this beatdown, and Billie just tossed her out of the ring. Athena shows up. She laid out Toni with the contract, which is on like a clipboard, kind of metal clipboard kind of thing. Aubrey comes to. Athena's going to sign the contract, but out comes Alec Windsor. She apparently, they mentioned here that she's challenging Athena for the Ring of Honor title on Collision. She laid out Athena and Billie, so Athena did not get to cash in. And I saw people speculating, oh, does this mean it's a cash in? Blah, blah, blah. It's always been like, Toni even said it on the All In pressing. I think people just don't want to believe that he's stealing one of WWE's most reviled concepts.
You say reviled. I like it. It's just they never do anything. I mean, they've run it in the ground, quite frankly, by doing it every year.
Sorry, it's reviled by AEW fans. They complain about the fact that WWE switches their titles this way, and they don't want to see it in AEW. And so Toni has never really come out and said it's a cash in, but the wording leads you to believe that's cash in. And he actually said, well, the winner can choose when and where they want to have their title match. That was the wording he used.
I did think for a moment that Athena might win that title and that Toni might take some time off or something.
Like right here. Yeah, I was thinking that too. And to me, that's good segment when they do it that way, because when you actually believe that you might see it. Fernando hates the cash in. So there you go. But he liked the segment. I wonder how he would have felt if Athena would have cashed in. I would suggest that he probably still would have liked it because he likes AEW. Mm-hmm. I like the segment too. Then we got everybody's dream match that they didn't know they wanted to see until it was announced this afternoon. Swerve, Strickland, and Hechicero, first time ever match. Justin Roberts handed it off to Callis to do the intro. So he called Hechicero the greatest luchador in the history of the great country of Mexico. Better than El Santo, better than Mil Mascaras, better than Bandito. Then he says, Musui buone usoy Hechicero. And Excalibur laughed and he said, he just said, I am Hechicero. And
he might be Hechicero.
Yeah. He got on commentary and Taz was giving him a hard time for butchering Spanish. They had a pretty great match. It was a fun match, I should say. Fell a little short of great, but crowd was into it. They were chanting Swerve's house. Then at one point they were trying to chant Hechicero, but it's a hard name to chant, so they just went with Fuck Don Callis. So it was back and forth. Swerve's house, fuck Don Callis. Swerve's house, and blah blah blah. Then at the end of the match, Swerve soaked in the crowd. He went to the top. He was about to do the Swerve stomp, and then Lance Archer shows up and tossed him off the top and ended the match prematurely. Which again, it was shaping up to be a really darn good match, and the match, the quality was taken down a bit by the finish, but there was a reason for it.
In another time, Hechicero would be a Gary Hart guy, and he'd be stretching and doing horrible things to pasty, white, fat Southern guys, and he'd be a killer until some mid-card babyface decided to stand up to him, and then he'd kill that dude.
Right.
And then he'd get into the title hunt, and then he'd lose.
Yeah,
I love Hechicero.
He should be the one to beat Dustin Rhodes, honestly.
There should be some mystery to this guy, to me, and there's not. And
what were they calling him? They kept calling him a magician, and Taz was making fun of it. And they used magician a bunch of times in the commentary, almost to the. And at one point, Callis just said, "That's enough of the magician's crap." Like he was getting tired of it. I'm surprised he didn't call him Magician Jones. Maybe actually he did. It's in my notes. He did call him Magician Jones.
Hechicero is Spanish for wizard.
Okay. There you go. So Tony Schiavone was appalled by the finish.
Hold on. In fairy stories, a sorcerer is a person who performs magic by using the power of evil. Yes, English translation of Hechicero. There we go.
Wow, there you go. That's a great name.
Or it's more a warlock than a magician type of thing. Yes.
Huh. It'd be like calling an English guy like Gargamel or something.
Knowledge is power.
There you go. So they're beaten down 2-on-1, and out comes Bandito and Brody King. So they make the save. They brawl to the back. I assume that means Bandito and Brody King are probably in the tournament, and maybe even facing Hechicero and Lance Archer. Would not be surprised at all to see that match.
Or Josh Alexander.
Yeah. Well, okay, that was weird because, so Swerve's by himself in the ring. Okada shows up out of nowhere, lays him out with a chair shot. The whole time, may I point out, Josh Alexander is standing outside the ring with Don Callis. So he goes for a tombstone. Swerve gets out of it, headbutted Okada. He's about to Pillmanize the neck. I'm waiting for Josh Alexander to come in and make the save for his buddy or do a 2-on-1 or nothing. No, he just stood outside the ring. Okada threw the chair off himself and he bailed. And then they all just walked back to the back together, and Swerve sat in the chair and glared at them all. It was weird. Maybe Josh is hurt and he couldn't do anything. I don't know. But it was weird that he was just out there and wasn't even helping. So
I think he was out there to be the Callis proxy. So to speak.
There you go.
And he really didn't have a lot to do. Yeah.
Fair enough. We got a recap video from Collision, so that's good. We saw Ricochet beating AR Fox. Gates of Agony helped them. Then they won a 4-way match to win $200,000. And then we got a promo, Alicia Toot with Ricochet, and she says Gates of Agony, and then Ricochet corrects her. No, it's just GOA from now on. And Rick says, I've been trying to tell people for weeks. Last week we had back-to-back victories on the same night. I took care of AR Fox all by myself. And then one of the GOA guys says, and we beat the Crew. We beat Big Bill and Brian Keith and the Guns. Oh, sorry about the Guns. They're shooting blanks. But then Rick says, we will invest the $200K into our quest for gold. One way or another, you will respect us or fear us. And that's a demand. I don't know what that last part meant. Like, that's a demand. Like, you're going to respect us or fear us? Well, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, number one, are we going to be calling them Goa then? Because it's just GOA.
No, it's just GOA. GOA.
I like the Gates of Agony. I do. Also, you should just invest that $200,000 in an index fund and let it grow and do compound interest. But that's me.
Why doesn't he go to Portugal and get the hair implants like MJF did?
That's Turkey.
Oh, is it Turkey? Okay, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Portugal.
A bald man's gonna tell you about hair implants.
That would be great if he invested in a toupee.
I want to see ironic fro Ricochet.
Yeah. I do like Fernando likes this faction. I think it's great. I like this faction too. It's they've got enough credibility to where they're going to win more matches than they lose probably, but they also are the guys that can easily put over the bigger names when you get
here's
to that.
the other here's the other thing. Keep letting them talk.
Yes.
Because when they were with Nana, it would be Nana doing all the talking, and they never got any shine, and they never got to improve any on that mic. And they do have some mic skills there. I
Bishop
enjoyed
Khan
that part
is
of it too.
Bishop Khan is really good talker, and the other guy, Toa Leon, has a great presence. Kind of like reminds me,
and that's all you need.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Jacob Fatu. Maybe more like early Solo, like before he became kind of a jokester, like just where he's like, you know, like that's it. Whereas the other guy is like he doesn't need, he could be a manager, that guy. He's a great talker, but he's also like built like $1 million. Like that guy would have been a world champion like 20 years ago. I don't know what's going on now. I guess you kind of have to wrestle to
maybe
do that
maybe now. Maybe a little longer than 20 years ago, but yeah.
Maybe. Then we got an MJF promo. This was you know, what they advertised earlier. He came out with his contract and he said, "Let me explain something to all of you. I don't need Bobby Lashley to get my world championship back. You understand? I don't need Bob. But as far as Cowboy goes, you want to call me a coward? You're the coward, you hypocrite. I won't execute this contract. I'll beat you inside that ring fair and square, and my beloved Triple B will be back around my waist." And he's interrupted by Mark Briscoe. And we get the fans chanting "Dem boys." He says, "Now," I'm not going to do the Briscoe voice. He says, "Now, much like that kosher pickle you got in there, Max, I'll keep this short." And then like the fans started chanting "kosher pickle," but it took him a little while to get there. And Mark was like trying to decide, do I let them go or do I just barrel on with this promo? And you caught that? Like, because he was like, finally just let them get to the chant. And he says, "Matter of fact, you know, I'm trying to exercise self-control, man. I want to shove that microphone so far up your ass, but I got all these kids and they'll dock my paycheck because they'll never get that thing back, man. So bottom line, you stole that win from me, you little opportunistic bastard. So bottom line, I want you in the ring. Mark Briscoe, MJF, we do this right here in Chicago next week." We go back to MJF and he just says, "No." It's like short and sweet. I kind of almost wish they would have ended it there. But he says, he says, "Oh, I've had the match won. I was going to get the winny win and the pinny pin." Wrong. If you were supposed to win, you would have won. When the pressure is on, Mark, you know what you do? You lose. When the pressure is on, you know what I do? Unlike all these schmucks, I win. The most complete professional wrestler in the world today. Now I'm gonna level up with you, Mark. I know you can take this on the chin. So from the bottom of my heart, you suck. You're white trash, just like everyone here from the Midwest. I'm not an idiot. I'm not stupid. Everyone loves Mark Briscoe. These people can't get enough of Mark Briscoe. Fans are chanting, "Shut the fuck up," and "Dem boys." And he says, "I know why. I get it. Look at you. Wonky eye, missing teeth, funny accent. You're entertaining. You make them feel warm and fuzzy inside. But let's be honest, not even your biggest fans make you think you're a top guy. Not even your biggest fans actually think you're anywhere near my level. You're a joke, bud. The circus clown we parade around for cheap laughs and cheap pops. These people don't respect you. I knew another guy from Delaware," and he's like, "Oh," and the fans kind of groaned when he did this. So these people that people did respect and fear and look up to, I think you know who I'm talking about. That guy would have been worth my time. But I can't imagine how depressing it is to be with you, to be you. You have to look at your family every day in the eyes, knowing deep down they'll never respect you as much as they did your brother Jay. And Mark waited for him to say Jay's name before he rushed the ring. I don't know why, because everyone knew it was coming. But he ran into the ring to attack him. MJF bailed, and that was that. So I suspect we are going to get MJF and Mark Briscoe, and maybe the title shot will be on the line, and maybe Mark will win it. I don't know.
No, he's not winning the title.
I don't think he's winning the title, but he could win the title shot. I don't know. Like how can you do this and not have him beat MJF? He kind of has to at this point, right?
Right.
But,
do it with Bobby's help or accidentally type thing. I don't know. I did think you did do the Mark Briscoe impression because MJF did such a fantastic one.
oh yeah. You didn't get the
look,
pity pin or the win.
Yeah. I'm interested in this kind of because I think me and a buddy of mine talk a lot. We think Mark Briscoe should be their Jimmy Valiant in a way. You know, that guy who's uber popular with the fans and, you know, dancing, kissing, all that other, not you know, Mark Briscoe dancing necessarily, but just doing Mark Briscoe things. And then it's like kind of a mid-card stable just always says, we need to get this guy out of wrestling type of thing. I'd love Mark Briscoe to be a champion. I think it would go too heavy into the schmaltz.
Or it could be like a Mick Foley thing where
it would feel like a but then again with the Mick Foley thing that also felt like pandering as opposed to he earned it or something.
And then he would just lose it like a week later, probably, right?
Yeah,
like that would be what you would do.
That would be the guy who would be get cashed in on.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to win the title first, and I don't think he's beaten Hangman. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. The problem with AEW, I shouldn't say the problem, it's a good thing. The reason that this doesn't work in AEW for to have Mark just kind of get a cameo win, they treat their world title like as a big deal, and they don't do like a lot of title changes. And when they do a title change, it's generally built up. The closest thing they had to this was the thing Jason mentioned earlier, where, you know, you had like Punk beat Mox for the title for like 2 days, you know, whatever that was. But there was a reason they did that. You know, and it turns out Mox was right. So, but yeah, I don't know. Fernando, you said it has to be MJF. What do you mean? Like MJF? Oh, MJF has to be the one to cash in. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense for anyone else. Ricochet could have cashed in. You know, those are like the two guys. Christian could have, but didn't, and I'm kind of glad he didn't. But yeah. So that led into the main event because Mark was already in the ring, and they played Claudio's music, and he came out. And they announced at the beginning of this match that the title eliminator tournament will continue this weekend on Collision, but they didn't give us any matches. They announced Athena and Alex Windsor for the ROH title. And they also pointed out here that Colton Gunn was supposed to be in the tournament, but he was injured. And yeah, so he won't be in it. They also were plugging that tickets were on sale Monday for Wrestle Dream. They had a good match. Darby Allin showed up out of nowhere and distracted Claudio. But then he just disappeared. And they reminded us that Claudio is the one that threw him down the stairs. So I assume that when Darby actually gets back in the ring, we'll probably see that match, and Darby will probably beat him. We've seen that match before, and it's always great. So Briscoe did the bang bang, and he hit a cactus elbow off the announce desk. Then he did a blockbuster off the barricade. And right in the middle of this match, I don't know if you caught this, but Tony Schiavone just, like, all of a sudden screams, "That son of a gun is fired up." I was just like, yeah, I popped for that one. He hit a froggy bow elbow for 2. Fans were chanting "Dem boys." He slapped him on the top rope, went for a rana, but Claudio crotched him, hit a power slam for 2. Elbows from Claudio. He went for the neutralizer. Briscoe powered out. Claudio hit a poke to the eye and the uppercut, got 2. Went for the neutralizer, but Briscoe rolled him up and got the pin. And Claudio looked pissed. And yeah, so Briscoe got a big win. So it's kind of cool. Then Marina shows up after the match. It's funny because, like, I thought it was a dude at first. Like, I mean, not that she looks like a dude, but the way they shot it, she was like hunched over and she had the long blonde hair. And I was like wondering who that is, because usually her hair is tied back. But anyway, she took out Briscoe's knee, and then Mox came out with a mic, and he says, "Hangman Page thinks he's the champ because he's walking around with a belt. He ain't the champion yet. We want to make sure nobody around here gets too damn comfortable." And while he's talking, they're beating on Briscoe. And Hangman comes out with a mic, and Wheeler's got his head all taped up from before. He looked just pathetic. and I mean that in the best way. And fans are chanting cowboy shit. And he says, when you told me I didn't want Texas death match, you were lying. You knew you were lying. But when you say that I don't want this, that I can't handle the pressure, that I can't do this again and again and again, I think you actually believe that too. So I want to prove it to you. Not to the John Moxley standing here tonight, but to the John Moxley that carried this company the last 6 years. I want to prove it to that guy. So next week on Dynamite, it's going to be Hangman and Mox for the World Championship. But this time, you're the challenger, so you're playing by my rules. Everyone but the referee is banned from ringside. And I already know what your answer is going to be. It's going to be yes. So I will see you next week, you dumbass. And he leaves. And Mox seemed happy. Tony Schiavone, Tony Khan just made it official, blah, blah, blah. And Mox was just walking around the ring. The announcers were talking. He hugged Wheeler. They talked some more. Announcers kept going. The guys left through the crowd. They're showing the whole exit. The announcers, they did a 5-minute overrun with absolutely nothing. Like, I mean, the Hangman challenge was done after like a minute or two, and they did 3 minutes of just riffing at the end. So we do that sometimes. But yeah. But yeah, it was a big match for next week. I mean, I hope as long as you the overrun didn't cut your feet off.
It's fine, but on the other hand, like the baby faces, like they've kind of moved on to other things in terms of the main event stories, and it feels like we're still stuck with the same Death Riders.
Yeah, and like assuming Hangman beats Mox next week, like where do they go from there? Like I like you said, I guess next week will be when we find out who the next challenger is. There's nobody. I mean, the most logical person right now would be MJF. But Hangman told him you have to earn the match. So maybe, maybe this is it. And this is way too obvious, but it just came to me. Maybe they're going to book a match, MJF versus Mark Briscoe, with the winner getting a title shot. And MJF wins. Because MJF said, I'm going to earn the title shot and I'm going to beat you in the ring. And then he loses to Hangman and then cashes in his thing. He loses to Hangman. The Hurt Business show up. They beat down Hangman. Then MJF cashes in his contract. But he kind of have to lose if it happened this quick. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
Right, and we still had them fighting FTR earlier, so...
Yeah. Jason asked if this sets up Blood and Guts. I mean, here's the thing about Blood and Guts. I'm not sure if it's happening. All the buildings they've booked don't really have enough room for 2 rings. And unless they do it on pay-per-view, but usually WBD wants them to do it on TV. So they may not do Blood and Guts this year. I don't know. I know Swerve that one time said Blood and Guts, but I think he just screwed up. It happens. But yeah, so yeah, it was I've seen better shows, I've seen worse shows, but I thought it was pretty good. They set up a big match for next week that I want to see, so that's cool. Seeing these guys one-on-one with no interference, I mean, to me, that almost should have been the pay-per-view match. But we're gonna get it for free on Dynamite, so that's cool. Probably get, like, if they're smart, they start the match at 8:00 or 9:00, Eastern, 6:00 your time, and maybe go close to an hour, or maybe you get a finish and have a standby match or something. But they could do an hour.
Yeah.
They could go. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you were right.
You know what they're not going to do Blood and Guts. They're going to do the that Triple Tower of Doom.
God. We haven't had one of those hour-long matches in a while, and they usually do good ratings. So I'm going to call now. I say they're going to do not a 1 hour draw, but they're going to go a really long match next week. Like, longer than a half hour.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say longer than a half hour, teasing the draw, but eventually we'll get a finish.
Yeah. I apologize for not having strong takes this week. I'm shuffling papers a bit.
That's okay. You warned us at the beginning of the show that was going to happen. So We had a couple awkward pauses where I was waiting for your thoughts, and then I read your face. And
you've been spiky on your end for me in the internet all night, so I don't know if it's transferred onto the video or not. But yeah, let's get out of here.
All right, do your plugs.
Shake them ropes. There's no news so far, at least no big news. So probably a lazy river of wrestling criticism. Probably talk a little bit about, hey, all those NXT people hold TNA belts now. Vader Club has been selected by Chris. He's trying to get some his thing is like early aughts, but guys that he likes a lot. So it's Steve Blackman versus Jeff Hardy from SmackDown. And that'll drop sometime later this week.
That is like the most random thing I've ever heard of. You know,
you could just listen to him to see him justify his existence. That's what.
You know, did Jeff Hardy ever face Wheeler Yuta in AEW? You could just watch that and pretend it's Blackman. No. Okay. I did a quick search. God, what a weird match. All right. Me, I got nothing. I guess we're going to be back with the takedown next week because I've been off for a couple weeks because of my trip. But Garrett and I will be back next week on Monday on YouTube and also on the Fight Game Media free audio feed. So, and then Jeff and I will be back next week. Oh, yeah, we won't be previewing SummerSlam because we don't do WWE. So, for Jeff Hawkins, what are we doing? I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show. Oh, God, what a train wreck.